The ability to keep ourselves open and then absorb everything that comes in our way. Have we become independent, become addictive to yoga? It's a good addiction. They call it karaha, anya samskara pratibandhi. Handling illnesses. If you have become independent in handling your own moods and decisions and confusions and other things, you will be able to see your own gunas moving. What Bhagavad Gita says that, and that is really possible for every one of us. Don't stop yoga practice at the level of the body. In your personal practice every day, all the angas for that 1 hour will be present. And only when it is present, that particular day, your practice is good. So you should have yama niyama there in a different way. Asana, don't stop with that. In the day's practice, add pranayama, finally sit down in the dhyana and reach a state where you want to be quiet. You don't want to get up and go. That is how you should proceed.
Namaste to all the yoga sadhakas. In today's series of Yogānubhava, we have Sridharan sir from Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram with us. He is the senior most person to share his rich experience. So he has decades of experience in the field of yoga. So before I go to him, first of all, I welcome Namaste sir. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining and sharing your wisdom with us today. Before I go to him, and I'll want to introduce him to all of you today. So here is a quick introduction of Sridharan sir. So yes, Sridharan is 74 years old. He is a senior most teacher of Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram or KYM. He is presently the advisor, senior yoga therapist consultant and mentor at KYM. He had a successful career as a merchant banker in a public sector bank for 28 years. He became a student of T.K.V. Desikachar in 1980s and learned the nuances of yoga in the Gurukula style directly for 3 decades, and during which time he was exposed to the important texts in yoga and application of yoga in illness and spirituality. He also learned Vedic chanting in traditional style under his teacher. Drawn by his desire to fully devote his time to yoga, he gave up his position as a merchant banker and took up yoga full-time in 1998. In 2002, he was directed to take the position of managing trustee of KYM, which was held by Desikachar for 25 years since its inception. In this position, he had to lead the KYM as an administrative and technical head. He held this position for about 8 years, and this is what brought him to the limelight in the world of yoga. From 2010 to 2015, he served as a member of governing body, governing council of Moraji Desai, National Institute of Yoga, the apex body for yoga of Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. He is the vice president, the executive council and life member of Indian Yoga Association, is the member of governing body of Central Council for Research in Yoga and Naturopathy. He is a member of Yoga Certification Board set up by Ministry of Ayush, which is active in bringing the certification for yoga teachers. He served as a yoga expert in WHO technical review meeting and developed Yoga mobile application. He was awarded Dronacharya by Rotary Club of Madras East. On the occasion of 8th International Yoga Day, he was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award by Shri Balaji Vidyapeeth Pondicherry. He has authored a book which gives a biographical sketch of T. Krishnamacharya in Tamil, and his interest includes classical music and is happily married with son and grandchildren. So thank you so much for joining us today once again, sir. And now I think we are very honored and it's a pleasure to learn from your experience, like youngster like me and many other in the yoga fraternity. So what is that maybe 5-6 key messages in your experience that you would like to share with us today?
Thank you, Vinay. Namaste to everyone. It gives me great pleasure to talk about my experience in yoga, which is around 4 decades now. But I need to start with a small background as to how I came into this. I have found that people come into yoga from different doors. There are various reasons. It is not simply one reason. Like when we have to study, we have to study. When our parents will put us into school, that's all. We can't call any reason for that. But when it comes to yoga, there are so many reasons why people come into it, even now. See, I was traveling in a train. I'm already in a bank in a position of an officer. And so when I was traveling in a train, someone pushes a book and says, please buy this. And today I have not sold any book. It's a small book. And there are so many small such books, handbooks on agriculture, on, various topics. That this yoga book, I took it. And before I came to the next station, I completed reading. And I found that book said there are so many good things about practice of yoga. So that just influenced me, that's all. I looked into the paper and I saw some in Chennai, in the Hindu. I enrolled myself for one of the yoga programs, what we call as the program by someone. And it is a morning program. So we all will go there and stand. And there will be a group class given by a person, young man, or a young person. After some time, I called that person and said, what you are doing does not appear to be totally correct, because people I find all are not able to do. He said, I don't know, sir. This is just something I have learned by seeing the books and all that. And he is working for someone else who was asking him to give the classes in the morning. Then, in fact, along with him, both of us were traveling to find out about teachers. And in the meantime, the thought of meditation came into my mind. And I enrolled for transcendental meditation and a few other meditative programs. And then some pranayama by some gurus. But nowhere I could find an amount of, total fulfillment or it did not address what I was probably looking for. Then I happened to read the book called Religiousness in Yoga, which later was made into as Heart of Yoga by T.K.V. Desikachar. It was a series of lectures that he had given in an American university, which was made into a book. I was introduced, I got the book along with another person. And after reading it, I found that there was a lot of stuff which is suited with what I was looking for. And with the help of an important person, I had to meet my teacher Desikachar, because he was a very important person and it's not easy to meet him. So, but the time I met him and saw him along with this another gentleman, a journalist, he found out that I had some good interest in yoga, my teacher Desikachar. And he said, after a few classes, he said, there is a place called Yoga Mandiram, which I have established. You come and start teaching there. I said, I have not come for teaching. And I wanted to be only doing something to, improve my personality, totally. And I found, yes. And I found some answers to some of them in your book. He said, no, you come there. And I went to, in the evenings, I will go there. In those days, Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram was a very small outfit. Desikachar will come. Desikachar will come and then we will start giving the classes. And he will guide us what is to be given. Slowly, he made me in such a way that he attracted me. Evenings, I will come and give the classes. Weekends, he will start giving some theory portions up to say why we should do this, why we should do that. It was not a formal one, but an informally formal. There will be a lot of shastras and other things that he will teach. And what made it more attractive was the Yoga Sutra. In fact, I was so attracted, my wife used to say, after you go to his class, you get yourself lost in the Yoga Sutra. So that is what made me more and more to go back. Of course, a lot of improvement on my personal health and other things. And I also found in the meantime, not knowing that I'm doing therapy, I found that it was on one-to-one basis. And Desikachar will say what class we should give, what are the postures, everything he will write down in a stick diagram. I'm talking about 1980 to 83, that's the period. Now, I just don't know. We'll have to wait for him to give the next changes any. But I found that I'm bringing some amount of relief to a lot of people. And that attracted me all the more. You see, it is not that you do something for yourself, you can do something for another person. That attracted me more. Yoga Sutra study. So that is how I was drawn to it. But I was continuing to be in the bank, and there I had a very hectic time traveling from one place to the other. But wherever I travel, and that was on short travels, I had a brief stint in Hyderabad. But there also he asked me to give classes. Over phone, he will ask me to give classes. Somehow that bondage got into it. It was such a bondage that I continue to even harbor the great feelings about him in my heart even now. Every day I start my practice. I link myself with him through the prayers. And that made a change in my life, totally, a great change in my life. And the Yoga Anubhava, because of that experience, there has been a lot of learning. In fact, he used to say, when I said, I don't want to be a teacher, sir, he said, you learn by teaching. He said, you learn by teaching. This is something like a sutra. And I didn't know what he is saying about learn by teaching. You know, teaching means teaching. No, we learn a lot. Even today, yesterday I had given some 2 therapy classes. I learned. So, first thing was the ability to keep ourselves open and then absorb everything that comes in our way is the first thing that yoga does every one of us. That is because of the intense practice that we have to do. See, in fact, what I would like to say is, if you really do yoga, if someone asks me, sir, what should be the various things that I should look for, whether I am in the right direction. In fact, Yoga Pradipika talks about it, it says, Vapukrusatvam, Vadane Prasannata, Nasa Spuratvam, Nayane Sunirmale, etc. Like that, my simple idea is, have you become addictive to yoga? Have you become addictive to yoga? If you not become addictive to yoga, you need to work further. So I was traveling day before, I had to go to Delhi, and I had to take morning flight from Chennai, come back by the night. I avoid completely all travels. Because of the reason, I told you also about that. Because of the reason that I will lose my practice. I don't want to lose my practice even one day. In fact, one practice in the morning, 2 additional practices of pranayama and dhyana in the midday and in the evening. So it has become addictive now. If I don't do that, I feel odd at all levels of my system, at body level, at the level of energy, at the level of mind, and also finally at the level of happiness totally. If you don't want to do, you should look for this, become addictive to yoga. It's a good addiction. In Sanskrit, they call it samskara.
Yes.
That samskara, anya samskara pradibandhi. Number 2, most important thing is, what you can look for is you become independent. You become independent. And that is another area you can look for. At the practice level, you become addictive. At the level of result, have you become independent? What is meant by independent? What is meant by independent? I'm not really talking about the kaivalya, which it means actually being kevalasya kaivalyam, independent. That is not what I am talking about. And what I am talking about is very simple. It's a bit highly philosophical aspect. So far, if something happens in my body, even if it is going to be a sneezing or a headache, I will immediately jump and go to a doctor or call someone, find out, particularly a doctor. Now, that is not that. I will wait. I am able to see that certain things are happening in the system. I will be able to hear that. I will be able to feel it and do mostly a lot of things by adjusting on the food, by adjusting on my practice, continue. So basically, everyone will have to go to a doctor. In fact, our system, Desikachar has taken me to a doctor himself because I had an issue of ulcer in my stomach because of my why the travel? I told him, why are you taking me, sir? He said, no, let us take course to that, but we will also additionally. So we don't become dependent on medicine or doctor. It's only an aid that you are taking. Dependency is not there. Independent from the point of view of handling. From the point of view of handling illnesses at the physical and mental level. And that's most important. Whenever we are talking about illness, we always talk about the physical aspects only. Even if you consider COVID and other, COVID came, how we were able to manage. I can see that amount of pranayama makes the immunity better. Our immunity is so good, we can feel it actually. And that immunity boosting is what makes one independent. And second, for example, at the level of the mind, decision taking, an amount of clarity has to develop. You cannot go on, if you continue to be doing, is it right, is it wrong, is it correct, how do I proceed? That means you need to progress more in dhyana and all. It makes it so very clear in the mind. Yes, there will be failure, there will be success. There will be some situations where, like Bhagavad Gita, he says, Sukha Dukkhe Same Kritva Labha Labho Jaya Jayo. That type of thing happens to us. Yes, it happens to us. And independence at the level of that. And last but not the least, and most important that I would like to say is, if you are progressing well, if you are really progressing well, you will be able to see your own gunas. The gunas are the one which are responsible for everything. I can say that if you have become addictive to yoga, if you have become independent, handling illnesses, if you have become independent in handling your own moods and decisions and confusions and other things, last but not the least, which is slightly a very higher position, is that basically you will be able to see your own gunas moving. What Bhagavad Gita says that, and that is really possible for every one of us.
Wow.
Now today we are able to see the guna in the other person. Most of us will be seeing this person is rajasic, he is tamasic and all. What would you do? And that doesn't, because it is something like a 360 degrees. We have to turn our mind, and that happens only through a good pranayama dhyana. And my advice or my suggestion to everyone is, please don't stop yoga practice at the level of the body. If you have a chocolate in your hand, and you have a wrapper in the chocolate, and it is wrapped, you just open the wrapper. Do you take the chocolate wrapper and stop it? We don't take the chocolate wrapper at all. Opening the wrapper is what we are doing in asana. You have to throw it out, means just don't stop with the asana practice. Then you have to take it, put it in your mouth, bite it, and then enjoy. That happens through pranayama and dhyana. Please, every day's session, again and again, there is some forums asking me about what is the uniqueness about yoga, about particularly what you say about Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga uniqueness, speciality is, in your personal practice every day, all the angas for that 1 hour will be present. And only when it is present, that particular day, your practice is good. So you should have yama niyama there in a different way. Asana, don't stop with that. In the day's practice, add pranayama, finally sit down in the dhyana and reach a state where you want to be quiet. You don't want to get up and go. So that is the stage that you have come. So that is how you should proceed. So I am very happy to see a lot of people coming up, and there is a lot of interest, but I am mostly concerned with one thing which I would like to share with you at this forum is that people would like to become a teacher, and at the cost of their own personal practice, which is not good.
Beautiful, sir. Very nice. Beautifully said. Because this is exactly what I see in a lot of people who come to me asking, they want to become teachers. But when I ask them, do you practice? They said, I do only Surya Namaskaras. That's the only thing they do as practice. And which is funny because first thing, as you mentioned rightly, right, addiction to yoga is important before you can even start teaching yoga. So very well said, sir. I think these three things, what you mentioned, right? It's probably a very enlightening messages that you have given to us today. So addiction to yoga and being independent, and also trying to look into ourselves and see our own gunas. Like that's a profound message I felt actually, because that is something at a different level altogether. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot for sharing us all these.
Thank you, Vinay. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.